Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. My name is Susan Valakis, and I'm the Training Development Coordinator at NOW, and as such, I bring you these webinars on the third Thursday of each month. If you've missed any of the previous webinars, you can find replays on our website, nowfoods.com/webinars, or also on our NOW YouTube channel. If you have any questions during today's presentation, just use the chat bubble on your screen, submit your question, and then we will respond to you by email. You'll also receive a recorded copy of this webinar about an hour after it ends, in case you want to listen to it again or share it with someone else. Today's webinar is on a topic that we have not covered in the past. It is on free radicals and their scavengers. And as you may or may not know, free radicals are molecules that are produced by our body during normal metabolic processes, such as the simple act of breathing. So they are part of the body's normal processes. But free radicals are also produced when we're exposed to external compounds such as pollutants, chemicals, and other environmental agents. And these free radicals are unstable molecules which can ultimately be harmful to our body's internal balance or homeostasis. And although we can't avoid free radicals, we can minimize their impact on our health and our appearance with free radical scavengers. And nature provides us with a wealth of nutrients and substances that can fill this role. And here to tell us about these nutrients today is one of NOW's very own and one of my favorites, Neil Levin. Neil serves as our Senior Nutrition Education Manager at NOW. He is a nationally board-certified clinical nutritionist with a diploma in Advanced Nutritional Laboratory Assessment. He is a professional member of the International and American Associations of Clinical Nutritionists and also a member of the Scientific Council of the National Clinical Nutrition Certification Board. Neil also serves on the board of directors for MAHO. And on the home front, Neil provides a wealth of knowledge to our team at NOW when it comes to nutrition and dietary ingredients. So without further ado, as always, Neil has some excellent information to share with us today. So please join me in welcoming Neil Levin to help us better understand free radicals and their scavengers. Welcome, Neil.
Well, thank you, Sue, and thanks everyone for joining us again for our training on the free radical scavenger category in our catalog. So I'm going to go through the products in that section and talk a little bit about them. First, there's a couple of superfruits that I wanted to address. One is called Acai, which is it's a palm tree that we typically sourced from South America, particularly Brazil. And it's a dark purple berry. It's been compared to purple grapes or things of that nature, the purple fruits that are very rich in antioxidant type compounds. The term used on labels is typically free radical fighters if they're not vitamins or minerals in terms of labeling. And some of the free radical fighters in there are anthocyanins, proanthocyanidins, flavonoids, phenolic acids, and these are all pigments. So the purple color comes from pigments that are the result of things like anthocyanins, proanthocyanidins, etc. And there's a long list of them. You might recognize some of the things on this slide. Things like gallic acid, catechin, which you would find in green tea, ellagic acid, which you'd find in things like, believe raspberries, pomegranates, things like that. So, you know, these are fairly common. You'll notice on the second to last line, rutinoside, so it's a form of rutin. Rutin is actually a source of quercetin. So, you know, that's a good thing to know. You know, these are all things that are very healthy components of the berries. And the way they work is by reducing markers of oxidative stress. They also increase the level of antioxidants produced by the body, which are called endogenously produced, including SOD and glutathione peroxidase. Which in turn helps to good cholesterol without affecting the LDL or triglyceride levels. and supporting healthy immunity by supporting the macrophages and T cells, some of the immune cells. So this is one of our products. It's organic, certified organic acai palm berry. Phytonutrients, you'll see the ellagic acid, rutin, anthocyanins, catechins that we're claiming on the label, free radical neutralization, helping with cell health and avoiding environmental exposures to various chemicals. So these free radical scavengers are also used, and the things that they generate in the body, such as glutathione, are used to detoxify compounds as well, part of our normal detox mechanism. So this is the acai liquid concentrate. You could see it's equivalent to about 35 grams of fresh acai per serving, and in a base of glycerin, etc. So it's a liquid concentrate you can use. So again, we're making claims protecting against normal aging, healthy immune response, biological stress, and acai has a lot of nutrients in the skin and the pulp, as well as the juice. And the second superfruit is the Noni, which is also known as Morinda, the Latin name, which is from Hawaii and throughout the South Pacific. It's a tonic that's used by traditionally by populations. It tends to have a lot of people would consider it an acquired taste because it has a very strong flavor, but it's a free radical scavenger. It has polysaccharides and phytonutrients, which helps, and it also has unique fatty acids. When we're talking about these fruits, some of these whole fruits contain fatty acids, much like avocado. It also has fats in there. It's not just a fruit, you know. And the ones that are used that contain more fats tend to be used more like a vegetable in some cases. But the fatty acids also have some interesting free radical quenching abilities as well. So helping with immune function and keeping cells healthy, which is what they normally consider anti-aging and health promoting. This is the product we have, the Noni SuperFruit liquid. It's organic in a base of organic apple juice, raspberry puree, and raspberry flavor, all organic sources. So, you know, this is the way you could take a little bit of the Noni, and it's been flavored and up for you and sweetened with the fruit juice concentrates, not with additional added sugars, because we're not adding actual sugar, it's just apple juice concentrate, etc. Now, there's a broad category of antioxidants, free radical fighters called carotenoids. And the most famous of them is, of course, beta-carotene, which is one of the carotenoids. But there are other ones that are very important, such as lutein and zeaxanthin. They're xanthophil carotenoid pigments, so these are actual pigments. And lutein's a yellowish pigment, so you're going to find that, for example, in spinach. If you ever cook spinach and you notice it's kind of greenish and yellowish, when the chlorophyll, the green pigment, gets cooked out to some extent, you'll see more of the yellow. And you'll certainly see more of the yellow in things like egg yolk, in summer squashes, and in corn, yellow corn. That yellow color is actually the pigment lutein, so it's actually a good way to get lutein in the diet. Now, the reason we take lutein is it's present in the eye, the retina, the rod, the lens, but it's also in the skin. It's in the cervix, it's in the breast, it's in breast milk, it's in fat tissue, but it's most concentrated in the macular region of the retina, which is toward the center of the eyeball. So these carotenoids are concentrated in the central area of the eye, the macula, That's where we're focusing. That's where we're differentiating color. And there's over 600 carotenoids in plants found in nature. Plants can include algae, by the way, and single cell organisms. But only 3 are in the eye: lutein, zeaxanthin, and mesozeaxanthin, which is not typically found in the diet. And we'll talk about mesozeaxanthin later, but it's typically synthesized in the body from lutein and zeaxanthin. So lutein and zeaxanthin are stereoisomers. They're mirror image molecules of each other. They neutralize free radicals, and they act as blue light filters. And when we're talking about blue light, you're probably familiar with that concept. Blue light is the light that you get from computer screens. You get that from sunlight as well. And that's one reason why we're often told, if you have trouble sleeping at night, that it is wise to avoid electronic screens before bedtime. And you might notice on some of the modern phones, for example, like on a Samsung phone, there's actually an eye comfort or blue light filter setting on the phone itself that you can reduce the amount of blue light it's releasing. And I actually have that set permanently on my cell phone. But if you're watching TV or computer screens, monitors, you're typically going to get some blue light, and it's going to interfere with the production of melatonin to help us sleep, which is another factor that we need to be aware of. So the blue light filters, some of us, if you're older like me, you might remember the blue light sunglasses that were being sold in the 1990s, which were actually a yellow type sunglass that was used to block the blue light. And yellow pigments tend to block blue lights, and that's why both as blue blocker sunglasses and as something actually in the eye as a blue blocker, the yellow pigments have a benefit for health. So lutein is about 11% of the carotenoids circulating in our serum and about 20% of the carotenoids in our fat tissue. And of course, those levels are affected by dietary intake or lack of. So increasing the amount of dietary or supplemental intake will increase serum levels, helping us to maintain the macular pigment optical density that is appropriate and normal. Having supplemental lutein will tend to enhance the contrast sensitivity and glare sensitivity. And lutein can also protect against effects of ultraviolet light. Ultraviolet light, of course, is going to be sunlight, some full spectrum lights as well, tanning beds, things like that. So free radicals are produced by the sunlight hitting those areas, but it's also lutein is used to make mesozeaxanthin in the macula. There's an enzyme conversion process for that. So mesozeaxanthin we're going to talk about in another product later, but that is something that to be aware of, that that's one of the roles of lutein, is part of it is to be converted into this other form, which is an analog of a mirror image of the lutein. So it's actually converted into a similar but different form. And we carry lutein, 10 milligrams of free lutein from lutein esters on the left, or double strength of 20 milligrams of free lutein from lutein esters. These are extracted from marigold flowers, and you've seen marigold flowers that have the oranges and yellow type colors. So there's plenty of lutein in those flower petals. And lutein esters contain about half free lutein. So you get roughly 10 milligrams of free lutein from about 20 milligrams of lutein esters. You can also have synthetic lutein or lutein from other sources that are not esterified, that are not bonded to something else. But the lutein esters is typically what is used, and we will typically use the Flora Glow brand, which is the form that's been used in many studies. And so that's something that, you know, you will see a branded ingredient on some of these products for the lutein and zeaxanthin, and you'll know it is a quality material that's also used by other brands, you know, the trademark ingredient. This is the lutein with zeaxanthin, and it's got more of the zeaxanthin than normal. This is not the Floraglow, this is the Lutamax 2020, which is an alternate supplier. And again, there's a logo on the front, and there's specific studies done on each of these different forms. But with this, you're getting a significantly higher level of zeaxanthin than you would normally get in a product like this. They have claims for blue light protection and protecting the macula, but also enhancing cognitive function and helping optimize sleep quality. And that is no surprise when you remember that I mentioned that ability to block blue light with the yellow pigments. So again, mesozeaxanthin is not obtained through the diet or available in most eye support products. It's something that's normally produced in the eye. So we actually have made a product called Macular Vision, and we're using an ingredient called xanthosite, which is combined with fish oil that adds DHA, which is one of the main fatty acids in the brain and the eye. The eye is actually considered physically part of the brain. So when you know that most of the brain is comprised of fat, and most of that fat is DHA, the omega-3 fatty acid, it's very similar for the eye as well. So when you're taking DHA and fats, the carotenoids are fat soluble, and it typically takes several grams of fat to absorb fat soluble things like carotenoids, especially lutein. And you have having some fish oil and DHA is very complementary with a carotenoid product. So xanthosite contains lutein, zeaxanthin, and mesozeaxanthin in appropriate ratios for optimal eye health, extracted from marigolds. It also helps with visual performance and cognitive function. 20 milligrams a day of this ingredient helps maintain the normal density of carotenoids in the macula. That's typically over a 6-month period in the studies, and it enhances the recovery from glare time, improves the visual processing speed, and helps with contrast sensitivity. So anyone who is trying to maintain those functions of their eyes and battle bright sunlight or screens or things like that that would minimize these abilities in our eyes, this is a good product to help with that. And, you know, especially with blue lights, computer screens, gamers, you know, anything like that. So mesozeaxanthin is in the central region of the macula. It represents about a third of the pigment in the eyes. And the only way you get that in the diet is if you're eating whole fish that contain the eyes, like you know, whole little sardines, or you know, some people who actually eat whole fish like that. But mesozeaxanthin is not typically found in eye support products. We are relying on our own ability to produce it in the body. So this is the Macular Vision ingredient, the product containing the xanthosite ingredient. And you can see it's a proportion of lutein to zeaxanthin. And this is a much higher ratio of zeaxanthin / mesozeaxanthin than a normal eye formula or a normal lutein zeaxanthin, which is predominantly a lutein product. This has a lot more of these other components, along with the fish oil concentrate. But again, visual sharpness, focus, blue light protection. You're getting more from this kind of formula than a traditional lutein zeaxanthin formula. And just to continue on that trend, we have Support products both the regular and the clinical strength ones. And each one has 10 milligrams of lutein from FloraGlow. Again, the reason why these were formulated that way, 10 milligrams of actual lutein were used at that level in the LAST studies, the lutein antioxidant supplement trials, done at the Veterans Hospital in North Chicago, Illinois, by the way, by Dr. Stuart Richer. And I actually asked him, because I hosted some lectures he did back in the day. I asked him if this was the appropriate amount and if this was the type of lutein used in the study, and he confirmed that. So when we were formulating these products, I actually reached out to Dr. Richard to make sure we were using appropriate type and levels of lutein that were used in the studies that he performed at that hospital. So, this is a clinically based level of lutein. So in our AccuSupport products, we include green tea extract, alpha lipoic acid, grapeseed extract, etc. So you're getting similar things in there. This is the AccuSupport formula with FloraGlow lutein, which was actually the same material used in the LAST studies, the two studies. And I actually have a comparison of this formula with the clinical strength AccuSupport on another slide. But you could see this has your vitamins A, C, and E, vitamin B2, zinc, and selenium, bilberry, lutein, green tea, NAC, rutin, and zeaxanthin. Rutin is often used in these kind of products because it's a bioflavonoid that tends to strengthen blood vessels. And of course, it does contain quercetin, so that's actually a normal source of quercetin as well, getting it from rutin. And then there's the clinical strength AccuSupport, which has a longer list of ingredients, as you see here. And we could look at them in more detail on the comparison slide. This one I made per 3 capsules. You actually get more beta carotene in the AccuSupport. I actually limited the beta carotene because it competes with lutein for absorption. So I dropped that in the clinical strength AccuSupport product. They have similar amounts of vitamin C. There's more vitamin E in the AccuSupport, more zinc. You'll often see very high levels of zinc in, say, the Arids eye formulas, which seems to be, possibly a safety issue unless someone's very old and needing that zinc. Selenium's a little different, and chromium. But when we start looking at some of the accessories, the zeaxanthin's the same, the lutein's the same in both formulas, but you have a list of things including alpha lipoic acid, citrus bioflavonoids, eye bright, a traditional botanical for the eyes, taurine, which is an amino acid that is actually used more in the brain and the eyes than in most other parts of the body, the grapeseed and ginkgo biloba to help with circulation to the eyes, CoQ10 for the energetics, and glutathione for its effects on detoxification and free radical fighting. So, there's a lot of similarities between the two products, but, some people want to limit the amount of beta carotene when they're taking lutein to enhance the absorption of the lutein is one of the factors here. And another carotenoid that's not quite related to all this is lycopene, which is a red pigment. Lycomato is the material we're using, so you could tell it's the red pigment in red tomatoes and watermelons, etc. And it's a free radical scavenger. It supports cardiovascular health, immune function. There's also lycopene receptors on the prostate, and there's evidence it can help the prostate gland as well, and supporting vascular health. So we make lycopene in two different strengths, the 10 milligrams and the 20 milligrams, both in soft gels, both using the Lycopene material. So single strength, the double strength, free radical scavengers. And who's using the higher strength? For prostate or breast health, people might want the higher strength. Would be one reason. Some people do a lot of carotenoids to protect their skin. If they have a lot of sun exposure, they'll add a variety of carotenoids, which add a pigment to the skin. And when we're looking at general free radical fighters, which is really the bulk of the remaining products in this catalog category, alpha lipoic acid, it is produced naturally in the body, and you can get that in certain dietary sources. So potatoes has been said to be a source of it, spinach, things like that. Alpha lipoic acid works in both fat and water areas, so it supports, say, vitamin C and vitamin E. So that's an important consideration. And so free radical scavenging in both those environments, by recycling vitamin C and vitamin E, we're actually taking oxidized vitamins and reducing them back to their antioxidant form. So this is a way to say when the vitamin C acts as an antioxidant, it loses an electron and becomes oxidized. It becomes dehydroascorbate, not ascorbic acid. And alpha lipoic acid can actually act as an antioxidant and restore that dehydroascorbate back into ascorbic acid, where it can act as an antioxidant again. And similarly, it works on vitamin E and other antioxidants. So it's actually a refueling or support system for the antioxidant vitamins and other antioxidant type compounds in the body. And it also is something that supports glutathione production. It's one of the components needed to make the glutathione molecule in the body, along with 3 amino acids, of which the cysteine is the primary one. And NAC is one form of cysteine, but dietary cysteine or methionine support glutathione production as well. But ALA has a role in that and certainly does tend to increase the amount produced in the body. Another interesting feature of alpha lipoic acid is that the levels of vitamin C absorbed by cells increase when the cells are exposed to alpha lipoic acid. And this was actually a study that we commissioned, that it shows, if you look at the first hour, hour and a half, you see very similar rates of absorption of vitamin C with or without alpha lipoic acid. How much is circulating in the blood plasma? But after that point, you'll see a marked separation and decline in the rates of absorption between the red line and the blue line. The blue line is with alpha lipoic acid. So why is a lower plasma level desirable for vitamin C? And the reason why is because vitamin C has a short half-life in the plasma. And when you take alpha lipoic acid, it actually helps the vitamin C transport into cells and is lowering the level of vitamin C by moving it into cells where it can be protected and utilized and even recycled into the antioxidant form if it's been used up. So the transport of vitamin C into cells is the reason for this difference, that alpha lipoic acid is moving more vitamin C into cells, and that includes immune cells, muscle cells, fat cells, a number of different cells that transport vitamin C that way. And it works actually by enhancing insulin sensitivity. How does it promote the cellular intake of glucose? It does it by strengthening the ability of inositol, which is a component of lecithin and is a phospholipid, by enhancing its ability to support insulin sensitivity. So helping insulin to move blood sugar and related compounds out of the bloodstream into the cells. And guess what? Vitamin C is related to glucose, to blood sugar, because it's normally made from blood sugar in the livers of most animals, most mammals. There's about 20 species of mammals that can't do that: fruit-eating bats, guinea pigs, higher primates, humans, because we have varied diets and we can recycle them using other components of the diet, such as alpha-lipoic acid. Insulin sensitivity becomes an important feature in being able to utilize vitamin C as well. So that's why vitamin C has a relation to alpha-lipoic acid and to inositol. So we make different strengths of alpha-lipoic acid. This is the 100 milligrams, and we do quote that it supports glutathione production. We've added some vitamin C and vitamin E to this particular formula. There's the 250 milligram, which is actually the one I take, and it's a pretty strong dose. Free radical scavengers, supports glutathione production. And there's the extra strength, the 600 milligram, that has the bioperin black pepper extract and the grapeseed extract added to it. So this is your very strongest one. I don't feel the need to take that strong, but some people do if they need that support. Now, another carotenoid is astaxanthin, and it's responsible for the color in salmon, in shrimp, lobster. It's a pinkish red color. Flamingo feathers would be a famous example of astaxanthin in a land animal. And is actually one of the first carotenoids identified. It actually can cross the blood-brain barrier and the blood-retina barrier, so to neutralize free radicals. And most fats water-soluble nutrients have a harder time crossing the blood-brain barrier for reasons of its design. It is a free radical scavenger, helps with immune system response. There are different brands such as xanthin and others that we use in different products, but supporting ocular health and healthy nervous system. Some brands also make skin health claims, but carotenoids compete for absorption in the GI tract. So you need 3 to 5 grams of fat to ensure absorption of carotenoids, but it takes more to absorb lutein than most of the others. And both oral and topical astaxanthin can be benefit in aging of skin, which means preserving elasticity, minimizing fine lines and wrinkles, and maintaining skin moisture. So we've got 3 astaxanthins. They actually don't all use the same form of astaxanthin because there's different branded ingredients we use. And the veggie soft gels, for example, use a different form of astaxanthin than the other 2, a different brand, not necessarily a different form. But so there is one vegetarian vegan option at 4 milligrams, and then there's the original 4 milligram with the gelatin soft gels, the bovine gelatin, and there's also an extra strength 10 milligram with those soft gels. And EGCG is an active component from green tea extract. It's the most abundant catechin. We mentioned catechin before as being one of the carotenoids that was in some of the other products. So green tea includes polyphenols and catechins, which are free radical neutralizing, supporting healthy tissues, fighting metabolic stress, and helping with cell cycle regulation, cellular health, keeping our body and our cells healthy. They're typically standardized the green tea products to polyphenol or total catechin content. A cup of green tea, if you do 3 cups a day, is between 240 and 480 milligrams of polyphenols, depending on the type of green tea and how strong you brew it. They typically standardize to 400 milligrams per cup, or 300, which is about 3/4 EGCG. So when you're looking at the ratio of catechin and EGCG in the catechins, that is one of the specific catechins. And EGCG stands for epigallocatechin gallate, by the way. So 1 capsule of our 400 milligrams green tea is 50% EGCG or 80% catechins, and supporting cellular health. So 1 capsule is equivalent to that 2 to 3 cups, that daily serving of green tea that is recommended. There's also a base of decaf green tea leaf in here, which would contain a minimal amount. You're looking at roughly 4 milligrams of caffeine in here, when a cup of tea is probably more like 40, something like that. So it's a minimal amount. And a cup of coffee, an 8-ounce cup of coffee, is about 120 milligrams of caffeine, just for some comparison. Now, grapeseed extract, GSE, it's often abbreviated to. These have also phenolic compounds. OPC is a common term, oligomeric proanthocyanidins, as well as flavanols and polyflav-3ols. But the proanthocyanidins produce the red color of grapes, and some of the flavonoids include quercetin, catechin, miracetin, and camphorol, which are fairly common polyphenol type compounds. Now, there's typically standardized the grapeseed extracts to a minimum of 90% polyphenols, including OPCs, which are water-soluble free radical scavenging compounds. They're also useful for vascular health, healthy immune response, and they support tissues, including collagen. Collagens require these free radical fighters for appropriate strength and maintenance and production of collagen itself. So vitamin C and supporting free radical fighters like grapeseed OPCs, alpha lipoic acid, or others actually support healthy normal collagen, including the skin, including blood vessels, organs, etc. So the 100 milligram grapeseed extract has some vitamin C and calcium added, as well as the 100 milligrams of minimum 90% total polyphenols, which are predominantly the OPCs. The extra strength that we sell is 250 milligrams. We're claiming vascular health and immune response, and we've added amla fruit and rutin powder, which are both don't contain much vitamin C or anything, but they do contain potent free radical fighting compounds. Amla is traditionally used for that rather than vitamin C itself. It supports vitamin C rather than containing a lot of vitamin C. And rutin powder, of course, is something that strengthens blood vessels and also helps to release quercetin in the body. Now, there's a couple of pine bark extracts we carry. First, there's a pine bark extract from the inner bark of Chinese red pine, which has the 90% OPCs, similar to what the grapeseed extract has. Studies show it supports healthy cell growth and reproduction. We've added a green tea extract with EGCG to complement the oxidant neutralizing activities of the pine bark extract. You can see that formula here. This again is the 50% EGCG material that's very low in caffeine. So this is actually a fairly strong formula, but it's an alternative to Pycnogenol, which is a French maritime pine bark extract. And it's a natural combination and constant proportions. It has procyanidins, it's got bioflavonoids, and it's got organic acids. This is one of the top researched ingredients you can get, with over 450 scientific publications, including numerous clinical studies on humans. It's extracted from a single species of pine trees grown in southwest France in the Pyrenees region. Unspoiled forest with no pesticide or herbicide use, and there is no seasonal variations. When they're harvesting this, you're getting decades worth of standardization from nature. They do not have to blend batches. When we get lavender oil, for example, our producers will blend different batches to minimize variation from batch to batch. But on something like Pycnogenol versus grapeseed extract, there is no variation year to year, because what they're harvesting has been there for 40, 60 years growing, and is naturally homogenized by the seasonal variations over time. So Pycnogenol is really unique because it's a unique source, the French maritime pine tree, a different species than the Chinese. It helps maintain healthy eye, skin, and joint tissues. It aids in production of nitric oxide. It helps strengthen vascular tissues. Again, collagen production, collagen maintenance, collagen repair. It has a role in all that. And actually, a lot of nutritionists take Pycnogenol, including myself. So we have a 30 milligrams with a base of 300 milligrams of bioflavonoid per capsule. And this is something that was our original formula. Pycnogenol, when it came out, was sold in this 25, 30 milligram type serving size because it was very expensive and people were not aware of what it was. Then we came out with the 60 milligram, the double strength, which has a base of acerola powder and rutin again, which again fortifies it with free radical fighting compounds from plants that are often associated with what you would add to a vitamin C complex. And this is actually a product I had a hand in introducing, the Pycnogenol 100 milligram, which is the one I take, which has a base of amla extract. And it has the same kind of claims. But a lot of the studies they do are at levels more like 150 milligrams a day. So we're actually developing a product that's even higher strength than this. Now these are fairly expensive products, so that when we're talking about Pycnogenol in terms of suggested retail pricing. So, the reason why people would take that is so that they could take one a day and get the clinical dose that has been used in so many studies. Now, a related and similar compound is Resveratrol. It's a polyphenol. You'll see that in red grapes is probably the most well-known form, but it's also in certain berries like mulberries and other berries and other plants. Peanuts contain resveratrol, and Polygonum cuspidatum, which is a form that we use, the knotweed. And the trans form of resveratrol is the active form. There's both a trans and a cis form, as there is for other substances like fatty acids. But the trans form is the natural active form, although the cis form does occur in fruits and berries as well. It is not active in humans. So it's known for anti-aging properties, promoting a stress response. Remember, a lot of the oxidative control in the body happening in response to stress is related to adrenal function, and the adrenal gland actually uses a lot of free radical fighters. In fact, the level of vitamin C absorbed in the adrenal gland has been estimated to be something like 150 times the concentration in the bloodstream. So there's a unique need for free radical fighting when we're stress fighting. And resveratrol also helps healthy cardiovascular function. Part of that is likely related to its role as a free radical fighter to support collagen, which of course is one of the constituents, the main constituents in blood vessels themselves. So we've got the 50 milligram Pycnogenol, which includes a red wine extract. It includes the Japanese knotweed source of trans resveratrol. We've added the green tea extract and the grapeseed extract as well. So it's actually an interesting mixture of these things and significant amounts of each one. So you're getting the resveratrol, but you're getting a lot of these other free radical fighters in there with it. So this is a nice formula, actually. Then there's the 200 milligrams for people who want a much higher amount. They can get the Japanese knotweed source at double the amount, actually 4 times the amount per capsule. And the red wine extract with it, just a little bit added there, but it's mostly the resveratrol itself. And some people want the higher doses for various reasons to meet the levels in various studies. And we have an even stronger extra strength resveratrol. Instead of 50 milligram per capsule, 700 milligrams in 2 capsules. The trans resveratrol content is 350 milligram per capsule, but the extract 700 milligrams. But 1 capsule is plenty on something like this. It's fairly strong. And you know what? I always recommend on these antioxidants and free radical fighters, it's more important to have variety than to load up on one. Yeah, I'm going to take a strong dose of certain ones, but I'm going to take other things with it. I'm not going to rely on one to provide what I need, since the antioxidants free radical fighting category is so synergistic and depends on these things recycling each other and interacting with each other, that it really takes a village when it comes to the antioxidant free radical fighting family. And the last one I have is the super antioxidants formula. This is a blend of herb and fruit extracts that are designed to give a broad spectrum of flavonoids and related compounds that demonstrate free radical scavenging activity. These are the things in there. You can see it's very comprehensive. It has green tea extract, milk thistle for the liver, turmeric root extract, quercetin, bromelain, rosemary, grapeseed, ginkgo, ginger, hawthorn, cranberry, and bilberry. Really nice all-in-one formula. And here's the formula you get on there. So yeah, there's a little bit of caffeine in here, 16 milligrams maybe, which is very low. It's not that much when you compare it to a cup of tea or a cup of coffee. But you are getting significant amounts of these other things: the milk thistle, the turmeric, the quercetin, even bromelain. So you're kind of magnifying the effect by combining with other ingredients that have similar roles. And, so you're acting on the collagen in the body. You're acting on the ability for the liver to detoxify properly. You're looking at cell strength. You're looking at immunity. There's so many roles for these types of ingredients in the body that, when you're taking them all together, the effect just gets magnified.
Wow, good information. Thank you, Neil, for another excellent presentation. I just want to remind our audience one last time, if you have questions, take a minute to type them into the chat bubble on your screen, and we will reply to you by email. Or you can always reach out to our nutrition team about today's presentation or about any questions that you may have about Now products at the email address you see on your screen, productinfo@nowfoods.com. We have a whole team, and that's what they do all day, is they answer questions from consumers, retailers, practitioners from all around the world. So be sure to take advantage of that. So I thank you once again, Neil, for an excellent presentation, and I thank everyone for joining us. We hope to see you back with us next month. Bye-bye.